Hello, friends, and welcome back to Too Many Minis. My name's Ossie. If you picked up the Battle of Osgiliath box recently, you may have a lot of Morannon Orcs to paint, especially Gothmog, the new Gothmog model. I just painted him up last week. I used him in the little Christmas event that Kieran Flora arranged in a Bad Moon Cafe this weekend. That was great. Very Christmassy. Lots of fun, doubles games. Evil won. It was evil versus good, and evil won. Gothmog, see. And I just painted this guy up. They're fantastic models, really some of the best I painted. Like, just a dream to paint. And I was just going to run through what I used color-wise and how I painted him up. I'm going to use Goroth as an example, because I want to use him this weekend at a pairs event that my man George Downey is running at the London Wargaming Guild in Covent Garden. That's going to be great fun, and I need Goroth with his big two-handed mace. But he goes for any Morannon Orcs, basically. It's the same scheme that I'll be using on any new Morannons that I paint up. Got some new ones in the box, and I think I had some more anyway. I've got lots of them. I started out by priming them. I did a kind of zenithal prime, which you can kind of see on the bottom of the Warg. I did black primer all over, and then I did a Wraithbone from the top, catching most of it, but so leaving more shadowed areas underneath. And that really helps with the fur and using contrast paint. You get the kind of shades in under the legs around there. I don't think it's super necessary for Gothmog on foot. I think it's mostly for the Warg that was it. So I haven't done Goroth like that. But with the Warg, I'm not going to be painting a Warg right now, obviously. But the way I did that was, so it's got this zenithal highlight, this Wraithbone from above over black, and then it was just skeleton horde over the whole thing, and then that leaves you with this very light areas. Then to get this effect, that I was just kind of copying the Games Workshop model on it, and I then layered in Garagak Sewer, which is one of the new contrasts, and I love it. It's such a great colour, great for leather, really good. I put that in the middle of the main, going up to Cygor at the top, and adding quite a bit of water. If while you're doing this and you're keeping them wet, add some water or medium, and you can just kind of blend them together. I haven't done a great job of blending it, but I mean, you're getting the three kind of tones there, and that's super helpful. And then you can either dry brush it. I went with a Shabty Bone. I didn't dry brush it. I actually just individually put a little touch on each hair. So you can see with these ones on the main that I've just done the end. So it's quite crude, really, just doing the end. But just it kind of tricks the eye and makes you think that the light's catching some bits higher up. So I was just going around and kind of dotting the bits of fur, and then cleaning up the face with the Shabty Bone. Just giving it, you know, just the highlights, basically, just picking out any of the raised areas, but not doing the whole piece of it. Just a dot, just the highest of the raised bits, and then that gives an impression of more blending than I actually did. The nails, the kind of claws, I did them with the Cygor Brown again, and then put Rakarth flesh for the nails to give that kind of greyish look. So just making sure to leave a bit of the Cygor around to give it some definition. That was the Warg. That's how I did the Warg. But I'll show you what we did with the Morannon, with the Gothmog, and like I say, you can use it for any Morannon. I think the first thing to do is to get the black on. Instar pure black, but any black, but that's the black I like at the moment. So the black is just to cover all of the armor paneling. So all the areas that you want to have metal in the long run, I want to go black first. Right, we've got a layer of black over all of the metallic areas to be. Also did the bottom of the boots. I think on all the Morannons they have kind of metal toe caps, and then we'll just do the boots black. Did all of the weapon black. As a slightly bent mace on mine. Never mind. I think with Morannon Orcs, it's, you know, it's okay. They'd have some defects. They're not that fussy. Focus. So next up, I would do the metal, because This is going to be a bit of dry brushing, and if any of it goes wrong, we'll be able to paint over it later rather than doing it at a later stage. Getting some lead belcher. Getting a not so brilliant brush, so we're going to be dry brushing it. We're getting most of it off. And we're going to just brushing down, catching all the edges and leaving black in the recesses. I don't think it matters too much how it goes on. We're still going to give it a wash and a highlight after. I guess don't get too much on. Okay, with that layer on, it's got a nice dark metal look to it, and we can now clean up by adding the red for the cloth areas. And you might want to do this red or black or grey or whatever, and I used to do mine kind of black and stuff. I didn't like the red, but for some reason I've come around to the Games Workshop way, the red stuff for Morannons. I think I just like painting colours more. I'm going to be using Word Bearer's Red. This is a great colour. It's you've got Corn Red, which is the really nice dark red, but it's a bit too nice for Mortar, I think. So we'll go with Word Bearer's Red, which is muddier. So this wants to be nice, smooth covering. I'm probably going to do 2 coats, 2 thinner coats to keep the detail and to get nice coverage, and to make sure we've gone over any sort of black or silver that's left around. Right, I've left the leather straps, and I will do them now. And I'm going to use the aforementioned Garagax Sewer contrast paint. It's not essential. If you want to undercoat black and save time on the armor stage, you can paint the straps in a normal paint way. You can go Rhinox hide, highlight with Scrag brown, and then fine highlight with a Shabty bone, something like that. That's what I used to do. But now, if I can do it, I want to get this Garagax Sewer, because it can do it in pretty much one take. See that? That's a nice bit of leather. Again, you can highlight it very nicely, but I've left a bit there. Doesn't matter if you go over a bit onto the red, because the Garagax Sewer looks fine on red. It's just going to look like more shading. I wouldn't worry too much if there's some bits you've missed. Then in recesses, it's all going to get washed. The last bit to base coat is going to be the flesh, the orc flesh, and that can be anything. Orc flesh can be any colour. I'm going to do this one Skarsnik green. Skarsnik's a very light green, so we're going to wash it afterwards. This guy's got a bunch of chins. We don't judge. It happens to the best of us. Only thing left to undercoat, base coat now, is his hair, this straggly orc hair. I don't like painting orc hair. It's not nice hair. I mean, I don't think anything could matter much less than orc hair when it comes to painting. So just get it done. Manky, dirty grey. One last base layer I think we'll do is just a tiny touch of Cygor brown inside his mouth, because he's got a big old open mouth, this guy. The red parts that you painted want probably 2 coats of Agrax Earthshade. Classic old Agrax Earthshade. Don't leave too much on there. Let's get it away when it's pooling. Don't want that. And you can go right over the leather at this stage if you want some more shade on that. Depends how you put it on. Definitely worth going right into the points where the red meets the metal at this stage, and help fill any gaps there. I'm just wicking away any bits that get into pooling on a flat area. Let that dry. I think it might want a second layer. For the orc flesh, I'm going to try Reekland Flesh Shade to make it, dingy it up a bit. It's a bit too bright and green, isn't it? So, see what happens if we put this over it. Oh yeah, I like that. So make sure that gets in all the recesses on the flesh. Again, we might want 2 coats. One might be good. And for our final wash stage, it's going to be known oil. And known oil is going to go on all the metal surfaces, unsurprisingly. And you can always stick it in any recesses that you just think ought to be really dark. And then that's going to need some time to dry. At this stage, everything's had a base coat and everything's had a wash. So now it's going to be about getting it up to a finish level. I'm going to go back to the word bearer's red. And now this is going to be going on neat. And we're just going to be putting this on to the areas which we want to have the main colour. And I would suggest not painting it completely flat. Just go for some bits so it's not a consistent tone everywhere. You just want to hit some of the raised areas to give a very simple highlight back up to the intended colour. It's going to look particularly good on the folds. And then these guys always have crumpled clothes because they don't do their ironing. Nobody does the ironing in Mordor. It's one of the many flaws in Sauron's plan. I don't know what I'm talking about. I hate ironing. Absolute waste of time. So you're just kind of cleaning this up from the wash stage. And sometimes it's going to have pulled in places where you don't want it. So you can see there it's starting to take shape. And maybe a bit too dark here. Let's take some of that back. More like that. I think we could highlight that one stage more. I'm just going to add a tiny bit of Screaming Skull to my mix. But any ivory kind of off-white. You can go grey if you want, with Ulthuan grey or similar. But just a spotlight like that. It's a bit pink now. We're not going to use much of this. A bit down there. A bit here. There. Just picking some areas to accentuate the highlights on. Right, I'm happy to call that stage done. I just want to get some slightly darker shades into the armour. So I'm going to take some Black Templar, which is the contrast black, or one of the contrast blacks. They've got another one now, I haven't used it yet. And just go underneath some of these plates. So I want them to be really dark, and that they've come up a bit too high with the dry brushing. You may not have that problem because you may not have overdone that stage. To highlight the skin, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go back to the original Skarsnik that we had, hitting just the raised areas of the face that we want to bring up. The cheekbones, eyebrows. You can do under the eye if you've got a really steady hand, or you can totally leave it. It's not going to matter. Let's do some of his chins. Okay. His lumpy bits. I'll do his fingernails, his knuckles. I think just a dot on each knuckle always works. And then I think you can take that a bit lighter if you're going with this kind of skin tone. I'm going to get some Deepkin Flesh, kind of off-white. eggshell white kind of colour. And you can hit some spots on the face. The less the better. Tiny dots. While we're on the face, let's do the teeth. First we're going to hit them with a bit of a shab T-bone. See if we can just pick them out. His mouth's a bit of a mess. And with the shab T-bone, I think we use that to highlight the leather. Just hit some tiny spots along the leather straps. It's just to give the effect of having some wear and tear on it, because the contrast that we used initially is giving it some shade already. This is just the absolute, this is weathering really rather than a highlight. Alright, time to finish off the armour. Get your favourite bright silver, whatever one you like. I like silver from Game Colour, but everyone is telling me that Sir Coates silver from the Duncan Rhodes paint range is really good, so I'll probably be trying that when I run out, but I don't know when I'm going to run out, because it's not like it's something I use a lot of. You use like tiny amounts of it. That's what we're going to be doing here. Now we're going to be just catching some spots where we think the plates of mail would have rubbed against each other or been hit by armor. So sometimes a bit like scratches and nicks. You don't want to do too much at this stage because it's an orc. It's not going to have the shiniest, polished armor. So you're really just following what you did with the dry brush stage here, but accentuating a bit more. And with the mace, I'm just going to try and catch the top, like a line almost, down the topmost edge. So it's just glinting. I'm not going to do the rest of it, except where that same sort of light source would hit it. So on this. Okay, he's nearly there. It's going to need some eyes doing. For the eyes, I'm going to go for some yellow eyes, some kind of cat's eyes. See if we can pull this off. Very small brush, little dot of yellow. My preferred pupils, if you're going to do them, is with Cygor Brown, because it's much thinner than any kind of black. I'm going to go back to my Skarsnik highlighted version. See if I can slightly shrink that eye a bit. Ooh. I'm going to put the flesh shade over the teeth in the mouth again, because I feel like that went a bit too much. So we'll do that. Maybe not quite as much as that. I'll wick a bit away. To finish off the face, we just want the tiniest little dots of white on these teeth. I mean, just want to pick out the tops, the extreme points on the teeth, really. Whether they're coming down or going up. That'll do. Yeah, I'm not super thrilled with that, but that'll do. And I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's done, and that's kind of your basic Morannon. You can play with the skin tones. You can do dark greens. You can do browny greens. You can do anything with orc flesh. You can go red, whatever. With Gothmog himself, his face was done with Rakarth flesh, and then shaded with Reclin flesh shade. Or was it shaded with Agrax? It might have been Agrax. Not sure. One of the two, maybe a mixture. And then highlighted again with the Reclin flesh shade, and dots on top of that, and mixing in a bit of Deepkin flesh to make it extra lumpy and nasty looking. To give him his kind of pale, pallid complexion that we know and love. For basing, you know, it's whatever you want. Mine are kind of Pelennor Fields based. I put some of the leftover bits of stone from the new Osgiliath terrain kit on his, and I've given him a Minas Tirith shield to match the Minas Tirith army, which I'm going to be making soon. When I finish the model, I always hit it with a coat of Vallejo matte acrylic varnish. As long as you give it a shake, you can be pretty rough and ready with putting it on. You don't want it to pull too much, I think, because you might get some chalky residue sometimes, maybe, but I have not had that. I think you just don't leave absolutely tons on there. This does a few things. It dulls down the highlights a bit on the metallics, makes them a bit less shiny. It takes the shine off your Agrax Earthshade and other washes, which often get a bit of shine, even if you do shake the pot. They often dry a bit glossy. And this will take that right out, but it'll also protect it against chips and knocks and being rubbed off on your hands when you're playing or in transport or whatever you're doing. And I think it just really unifies the model. It gives it all the same finish in a way that different paints from different manufacturers, and even from within the same manufacturer, they don't all have the same finish. Washes don't have the same finish. This will unify. So that's shine taken off it. You can do a second coat of the varnish if you want to dull it down more. I'm pretty happy with that. I think he looks good. Just did a bit of basing on him to match the rest of my army. And join the gang. Particularly green, kind of froggy green orc. I'm sure I'll be painting up more Morannons. Well, I don't really need more, but you know, over the next few months. But I'm going to be doing more Minas Tirith as well from that box. I'm quite into both armies at the moment. With this box coming through and hyping me back up for them both. Let me know if you're painting any of this stuff or if you use this scheme. It's quick and easy and gets good results, so it's a winner. Don't forget to enter the £20 giveaway voucher thingy. There's a link up there in my other video for 500 subscribers. That was a happy milestone. And thanks for subscribing and liking and commenting and all that stuff. That's wicked. Does the channel great, gets it out there to more people, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Bye.